Well, back when we first began the church, we started in a house. We evolved to a storefront, and then we expanded at the three different storefront rooms and multiple services. And after we started our third worship service, we realized, okay, we're going to have to look to expand what we're doing. So we were able to buy 4 acres of land here where you're standing on, and we were hoping to start building, but then we had the beautiful thing called COVID hit, and that gave us some problems. So we had already made plans with another builder and we're working through that process. But because of COVID, because of timing and things weren't working well, we had to bring a new builder in at like the last minute, and that was JAG. I sat down with Jeff, and he and I walked through the process of what we were wanting to do here and make space for more people so we could go from 80 people in a room to this one holds a little over 400. So we wanted to be able to expand what we do and have ample parking. So as we laid that out, Jeff helped us through that process, and we began this long, arduous, COVID-directed construction plan that took a while, but we got through it. Yeah, well, and it was a rush process too, because we were a small project. We had limited money, limited time. We were working against deadlines. None of that was JAG's fault. They weren't even in the process earlier. So they got brought in late in the process before building. And I remember we sat around in somebody's living room and we just showed Jeff the plans and said, hey, this is what we need. Can you make this happen? And he looked at it, thought about it, got back to us a few days later. He looked through it and he said, I think we can do this. And that's where the process started. We were in a living room and we said we have pretty strict timelines because we're a small church wanting to be a larger church, but we're a small church now. So can you help us? So he sat down, looked at our property, looked at our setup, and off we went.
So as like all construction projects, unexpected challenge, the curveball, right?
Oh, there were many curveballs, mainly because it was COVID era. So COVID was in full blow in 2021. And we were hoping to be in the building in March of 21. Well, it was April of 21 when I'm talking to Jeff about getting this process even started, because the other builder was really struggling. You couldn't get city council meetings. You couldn't meet before planning commissions. So Jeff was going to try to somehow accelerate that process. So he came in, I want to say it was early April, and we were digging in May. So it was at the end of May, but we were clearing the property in May. So yeah, it was a lot of curveballs through the city, through just being able to get materials, because when you're in COVID, the steel was in short supply, labor was hard to find. It was because while the city was shut down at that time, all of Vegas was rebuilding stuff on the Strip. So every skilled laborer was on the Strip remodeling and redoing hotels. So Jeff was working around, how do I get subs? How do I find material? I'm working with the church on a pretty severe deadline because they've already a year later than they wanted to be in it. And so, yeah, there was some internal curveballs before he even came on board. So it's like he was walking to the plate with the pitch already thrown. Even through the struggle, and the struggle was, COVID didn't stop really through the whole process. We moved in early 2022 or June of 22. So the process, he said, would take a year. Well, he got us in a year and 3 months, which is pretty good. Looking back, now at the time it was rough because he knew we were going to be without a building. So for 3 months we were homeless because our lease had expired on our rental. So we did worship actually at JAG one morning. We had our church in his parking lot doing worship off a trailer. He was accommodating in that. We were using his facility as storage, which I probably shouldn't tell you because I doubt he wants other people doing that. But we had all 400 of our chairs sitting in his warehouse waiting for us to get this thing done, because we had to, in COVID era, you just ordered it and hope you got it. And that was, and we were all running blind. We had no idea what the future headed. We just knew we need to get this building up because COVID's not going to last forever. So he really worked with us through the process of getting us in. He's working through a lot of subs that I'm sure he's wrestling with, who they have their own supply chain issues. So it was the worst time to build and the worst time to come in late, the worst time to try to do this. I mean, the timing was really difficult, but in the end, we got in pretty good. The people that funded our project, we weren't traditionally funded. We were funded through the North American Mission Board, which is a large entity for the SBC. They said, look, what he did was pretty good. He got you in a building with 4 acres, roughly 180 parking spots, and 10,000 square foot building 12 weeks later than you wanted to be in, but pretty close to on budget. I mean, and supply chain problems everywhere. So it was pretty impressive post fact. So if you want to do this, understand that there are unforeseen issues, and any general contractor works with a litany of subs, and those relationships are critical. Yeah, and it's interesting because we've been in this building 2 years, and we started with 2 services. We always do 2, so you can worship an hour and you can serve an hour to help, that way everybody gets a chance to be in worship. What we were planning on is our 3rd worship service, which is, as of last week, we're now in 3 regular worship services here in the room. Just there's a lot of people that live here, and a lot of people are finding their way to the well on Sunday morning.